and welcome to For Your Entertainment, the new series in which I read stupidity on the internet in my awesomely luscious voice. I am your host, That Douglas, aka the Unhero, the internet's loneliest D-list personality. Now, I've made it absolutely no secret that I detest the overly sensitive PC social justice culture that we live in, where all of these whiny, annoying social justice assholes complain about everything, and everybody has to get offended by every little goddamn thing out there. Now, this review of Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which is an amazing movie, and if you haven't seen it, please do. It's fantastic. This review that I stumbled upon has to be arguably probably one of the worst reviews I think I've ever read. Ever. And this review was written by Davis Orini. Now, I'm pretty sure you know who this guy is, but if you don't know who he is, he was tapped to co-direct a documentary titled The Sarkeesian Effect, Inside the World of Social Justice Warriors, with Jordan Owen, but they had a pardon of the ways and that project was scrapped. This review is, it's awful, but it's hilarious at the same time. It's racist, it's sexist, it's misogynistic, and this is coming from someone that is not a big fan of modern-day feminism at all. And if you have somebody like me saying the things that I'm saying, given that I've made videos against Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian, that should be telling you something. So, without any further ado, let's get on to the video, and I will be doing this dramatic reading in my Mickey Mouse voice, because Star Wars is a Disney property after all. So let's get into it. Listen up, white man! J.J. Abrams hates you. He relishes the thought of your extinction as he looks forward to a multi-culti matriarchy, where instead of studying math and sciences, everyone sits around discussing their feelings. As for you, black man, he doesn't want your extinction. You get to prance about doing monkey shine, so long as you obey your white feminist overlords. Paying money to see his film is the equivalent of auto-castration. Star Wars: The Force Awakens offends on both an artistic and moral grounds. As a film, it's nothing but a fanboy's remake of A New Hope. Shot for shot, scene for scene, it's almost entirely lifted from George Lucas. It's almost exactly the same function as the original, but its form is foul and ugly. George Lucas was a brilliant renegade producer back in his day. He was a terrible director, an even worse writer, but when it came to producing, he was a force to behold. The original trilogy was something new, something that rebelled against the grain of mainstream Hollywood. He stood on the shoulder of giants, the Buck Rogers serials, and the John Carter of Mars story, etc., and built something new, the special effects spectacle film. He did something nobody had done before, that nobody thought would succeed, and wound up changing Hollywood in the process. These days, every big movie is a special effects spectacle. That's why Star Wars is remembered and so fondly. That's why Star Wars is remembered so fondly, not because the movies were particularly good in and of themselves, but because they were new, despite being chock full of the old. This alone is sufficient reason to condemn Abrams' film. It is the archetypal, mainstream movie of today. It is derivative, paint by numbers, fanboyish, mass-produced, Disney peplum, where Episode 4 was unique and challenging. Episode 7 is derivative and copiatic. It is the antithesis of what Star Wars represented. It gets worse, however. The underlying message of the movie is that men, and white men in particular, are useless, destructive failures who need to get out of the way so that society can finally progress. First we have the character of Rey, aka Feminist Skywalker. In the originals, Luke Skywalker was a callow youth who grew into a hot-tempered fool, before eventually becoming a seasoned warrior through the tutelage of his elders, Obi-Wan and Yoda. And the supportive friendship of his peers, Han Solo and Wedge Antilles. Feminist Skywalker, on the other hand, came out of the womb already an expert on everything, despite growing up an orphan with no finances or support structure. She taught herself to be an expert at motorcycling, scrapping old tech, surviving independently, and fixing starships. In one scene, Han Solo relies upon her to fix the Millennium Falcon when he can't figure it out. Then, when she finds out that she's a Jedi, she immediately levels up to the point where she can fight Darth Vader, despite never having held a lightsaber before. Next, we have Han Solo. In the originals, he was a smuggler with a heart of gold. On the surface, just a ne'er-do-well, another ne'er-do-well, flying around in his rusty space Camaro with his hairy friend. But as the movies progressed, he rose above his roguish ways to become a responsible general within the rebellion. For her part, Leia was charmed and aroused by the smuggler, but it was the generals that she truly fell in love with. Since then, he's regressed and outright degenerated. By the time Episode 7 rolls around, he's a burned-up divorcee. Leia took half his stuff, and he started hanging out with his hairy friend again. He's gone from smuggling contraband to doing the sort of dirty, dangerous jobs that only ex-cons work, even getting people killed in the process. Instead of aging gracefully, he dresses like a teenager, flies around in a ship that was a piece of junk, even when he was young, and you can easily imagine him and Chewie making sexually suggestive remarks to the 16-year-old girl working at the McDonald's drive-thru. To make matters worse, his failures as a parent are what drove not Darth Vader to become the big bad in the first place. Spoiler warning, Han Solo and Leia are the parents of not Darth Vader. Next, we have Luke Skywalker, the fat, burnt-out pervert who ran away from the problems he created, In the next film, it will be revealed that not only is he the absentee father of feminist Skywalker, but that he seduced her mother in such a way that it contributed to the primary conflict of these films. He not only betrayed his Jedi training by sleeping with a woman. Oh, those white men, they just can't keep it in their pants. But he slept with a particular woman who was already spoken for, thus alienating an ally and provoking an enemy. The blame for this Star War can be assigned entirely to his dick. Finally, we have Mace Windu, the Black Stormtrooper. I tried to Google the character name, but even the websites decrying all of the racism still refer to him as the Black Stormtrooper. As it turns out, he is actually a Stormtrooper. Raised since birth to serve in the Empire's elite, who upon his first brush of combat deserted his unit as a conscientious objector. Like most pacifists, he lacked any coherent philosophy behind his objection to violence. Mace didn't read books and nor live with the understanding that he's simply a coward. He runs away from every battle he's in, plays the boob and the incompetent throughout, and towards the end, the only reason he finally nuts and fights not Darth Vader is because he got the scent of feminist Skywalker's white pussy into his nose. And the first rule for being a black bull is that she makes the rules. Grunt for her, monkey boy. Ooh, the cock's all ego, and you're nothing but it. The female superego is your true master. This entire film is metaphorical for affirmative action, both the direct and indirect forms. Women in today's society graduate high school endowed with physical beauty. They enter a work environment with pro-female hiring quotas. They enjoy financial subsidies for schooling and are less likely to be harassed by the legal system. And the culture at large believes them to be naturally virtuous, hard-working, and intelligent. Furthermore, society is as primed with the cachet of excuses for any and all shortfalls. Failed at school, broke the law, gave birth to a bastard. Men are to blame. Meanwhile, the boys who were raised beside her have been deliberately held back. Masculine behavior was pathologized and Ritalin administered. They are presumed rapists from birth, and feminist lectures were given. They have been conspiring to hold women down because of their fragile male egos, and while women's only faces are an absolute masculine initiation and mentorship is exclusionary and evil. The twisted reality fostered by such Hollywood films sickens me. Movies are dreams. They reach deep inside of you, programming a new reality, while most storytelling comes from a place of truth, informing one of virtue and courage. This particular film has been designed to teach you lies. The reality is that civilization is a result of men's labor. Technological progress has come from men's inventions. Even social advancement has come from men of great wisdom. however, is thrown up to deny the truth of this, but even then you find that they are always, without exception, submissive towards masculinity. Jane Austen called out the petty, prideful ways of polite society, and women in particular, because she longed for the true leadership and masculinity of her beau, who had been lost at sea. Madame Curie advanced science because she so admired her husband, the scientist, and wanted to become like him. Ha ha! Even Anne Rand delineated her philosophy of objectivism and as an attempt to understand masculinity, and knew perfectly well that no woman should ever be president. Feminists have never and will never accomplish anything of worth because they reject the masculine principle. The women of the greatest accomplishments are those who have submitted to it. J.J. Abrams' prenatal fantasies about female superiors are nothing more than the symptoms of a boy whose development was arrested at an early stage. He longs for the safety of mommy's apron strings, the pre-sexual intimacy of suckling at a milky teat, and a warm nest to protect him from the rough games the boys outside are playing. The masculine terrifies him, so he denigrates father figures or recreating the stories from his childhood. Ha ha! Disney is the perfect home for him, a corporation that guarantees his safety while monitoring and adjusting his behavior whenever he steps out of line. Women breathe on the burning bed, while men bleed on the battlefield. That is the nature of the species, man. The delusion of broken toys is Abrams can't change that. They can only pervert it. His world of gender fluidity sells itself as freedom, but it is anything but. What he sells to you is slavery, to your lusts, to your hungers, to your weaknesses, to the government, and to the corporations. True freedom, true individuality comes when men pursue a truth higher than themselves, and women pursue the masculine truth that is higher than the feminine. These men and women are smiling, beautiful, and confident, and strong because they obey a truth bigger than they are. Those follow whatever folly their hearts can conjure up are invariably ugly and wretched. It isn't culture that creates man and woman. It is man and woman who create culture. Ha ha! Star Wars, The Force Awakens, is a perfect summation of the sickness infesting our civilization. A sickness which can only be cured by individuals devoting themselves to a higher cause. It's time for all of us to find something worth living for and to cast down the broken people who are held forth as idols. I would argue that this warrants a re-evaluation of his prequel trilogy. They're utterly terrible, of course. I still haven't seen the third one, and I don't plan to, but the concept of green screening an entire movie has actually exceeded to some extent, and has been adapted effectively in many other noteworthy films. As I said earlier, he's a great producer. It's his writing and directing that are terrible. This is all speculation on my part, but I'll bet dollars to donuts that I'm right. I predicted most of the scenes and events from this film based solely off of watching one trailer and being familiar with hack Hollywood storytelling. As Mac Forney, I accurately predicted the exact scene where feminist Skywalker was introduced. My only error was saying she arrived on a popular speeder bike, when in the film she left on a speeder bike. The irony, of course, is that it's women who are sexually loose with the most degenerate subset of men, and they are the ones who have chosen to raise a generation of maladjusted bastards instead of being responsible with their reproduction and demanding commitment out of the men they date. One Harley McBad boy plus 99 sluts equals 99 single moms. It is women who have trouble keeping it in their pants, and yet we're supposed to believe that men are the ones who think with their little heads. Dear nerds, I don't care. He's supposed to be a Bobo Jango Fett clone. That was a stupid idea in the first place. If you recall, they also lowered the testosterone of the clone soldiers to make them more obedient because, as you all know, the Marine Corps wants more pajama boys. Oh my god. Ugh. Sorry about my voice cracking. That voice just takes a lot out of me. It's really hard to do my Mickey Mouse voice for this entire video. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and this review was just absolutely hilarious because it's, like I said in the beginning, it's racist, sexist, misogynistic, but it's just so hilarious that you can't really take it seriously. You'd think that it's trolling, but it's really more of a serious attempt at trying to claim the matriarchy. But anyways, that's all I gotta say. This is That Kid Douglas, aka The Unhero, signing out. Deuces, stay frosty and keep it weird. Cue the random explosion effect. What's up?